And we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome,
Yay!
welcome to Writers Workshop. It is a writing book club where each month we discuss a different book that's supposed to help us with our writing journey, whether it is for our writer's life or marketing, or like this one is about outlining. This was April's book, but March's book, but due to me being ill, we moved it to this week. So we're still going to have a book of the month for April. And that'll be at the end of the month. So if you have any suggestions that you would like us to read this month, let us know in the comments. And CJ, would you like to introduce yourself to the people?
I would love to. Hello, my name is CJ Bloyer. I'm a writer of things, and I'm really excited to talk about this book today.
Excellent, excellent. And let's see. I'll do a quick rundown of who's in the comments. RC was first. Hello, Rosalind. Spence is here. Hello, Ducky. Alex is here. Misty Kate's here. Hello, hello. And hi to Sarah. All right, so the book of the month for April was, in fact, this book, Mapping the Hero's Journey with Tarot. 33 Days to Finish Your Book by Arwen Lynch. And I had purchased this item in 2019. So this was a pretty good one to get off of my TBR. It'd been hanging around for a while. So oh, by the way, if you hear like a dog in the background, um, my best friend's ex-husband uh, left his dog here. They went to the races, and he's like bummed. So you might hear some whining, and he's a big
Poor
boy, so you might hear
baby.
some like running back and forth. He's going through it. He's having a time. So I just read the book, but CJ actually has put some of it to work for her. So this is going to be a different kind of conversation. So I think most of the time we generally have just read the book and we haven't actually tried out any of the
Yeah.
lessons within. So hello, Cat Paw. Hey, MM. So, and y'all in the comments, let us know if you read it. And if you did, what'd you think about it? And did you try anything out? So this this one was different because well, for one, you were in order to actually act out what you need to for the book, you need a tarot deck. So most of the time you don't need anything extra, right? Other than like time and maybe a pen. So that was interesting. Um, and the way it's set up, she explains what the hero's journey is, and as you're going along with what each stage of the hero's journey is, then you are kind of creating an outline for a story by using tarot. So a card would represent something that was the new thing that was involved in that stage of the journey. Am I correct?
Yep.
And then um, you, as the writer, are to interpret whatever that card is by um, how you feel, what comes to you, and looking at the design of the card. And I feel like you could also use the actual description of the card, but there wasn't an emphasis on that.
No.
So, oh my god, he's so sad.
Poor
So
baby.
I'm like, oh,
I just let my sister's cat into her room. She has the door closed, and he doesn't like closed doors. Like, it doesn't matter if he wants to go through the door or not, he doesn't like it closed. So I had to let him in, and he was telling her about herself for shutting him out.
I'm sorry, buddy. Where's Ben? Go get Ben. Melissa's son is in the basement. He's like, Rufus. That's his name. Oh, goodness. So, how. Oh, yeah. You do sound like Robo CJ. I
Yeah.
guess we'll just. You restarted. I guess we're just going to have to deal with it.
My computer does not like StreamYard at all.
No, it doesn't.
I don't know what its problem is, but they're not friends.
Maybe we'll figure out something else. Like maybe use Zoom or something. Try something out. See if it'll work better. But that's for another time. For now, we're going to have Robo CJ. So, what did you... Yeah. So, what did you think of the book?
I really liked the book. So she actually divided it up into like a couple of different parts, and I liked that. So I'm pretty familiar with the hero's journey. We've read other books on it. I was familiar with it, before all this. And so I kind of skimmed through those bits. I didn't read them really deeply because it was all stuff that I was pretty familiar with. But when it got to the actual like application part, that part was really fun. I made a bad choice and decided one night to. So I started out using it on my computer. And then I got sick this week as well, and I wanted to continue working on it, and so I used my journal, and I longhand wrote like 8 pages of all the stuff, and I went through it. In fact, my sister, one morning, my sister was like, hey, so last night there was this weird shushing sound, like over and over again. What was that? And I was like, I have a shushing sound. And then I was like, oh, that was me shuffling the tarot deck.
Whoa! Your house must be quiet.
It is. We live very quiet lives. And especially at night. Like, there's not a lot going on. And so, anyway, but I really liked, so each section, as she breaks down the hero's journey, each section comes with kind of a similar setup. You shuffle your cards, you draw the cards for the various things, but each one is broken down a little different, and I liked that too, because some of them you just draw one card and that's for the whole thing. Some of them you have to get into it a little bit more, and so it gives it some more depth. And she does give the option to add more depth each time, which I liked. But then at the end of the book, like, I don't know, 80% of the way through, I'm going back to see. Well, maybe 70% of the way through. Yeah, about 70% of the way through. She starts, oh no, this is 37%. That can't be right. But she starts talking about the tarot tools themselves. She goes through the major arcana, she goes through the minor arcana. So even if you don't necessarily have a tarot deck on you, potentially the resources are still there. It would be different, I think. Like, you'd have to figure out how to use it if you don't have a tarot deck, but it's the information is still there. And then I also like that she included like a whole section on like journaling spreads, and like it's kind of a whole, like the book is very very whole. It doesn't just focus on this one aspect. You get some more insight into using tarot. You get some more insight into different aspects of using it in writing. So I liked that a lot too.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I think that there's a way to use a regular
Yeah.
playing card deck as tarot. I'm not
The
sure
only
how it translates though.
the only thing you lose in the tarot deck is the major and minor arcana thing. But the court cards, and yeah, I'd have to look up what the court card, like which one goes with which.
Mm-hmm.
But the court cards are the court cards. No, you just missed the major arcana. That's what you would have the minor arcana because like ace through 10.
Oh no!
And one more, it's having a hard time understanding me. Is it really that bad? Oh.
Yeah, it's rough. Alex has suggested maybe trying without your headphones.
Does that make it better?
That didn't change anything.
Let me mute myself. You talk. I'm going to see if I can try it in a different browser.
Okay. So yeah. So as someone who didn't have a tarot deck in front of me, I had a hard time. I think I would have had a hard time trying to actually put it into play, but I was just kind of reading to get a feel for things and to see what the setup was like. And it was very interesting. She's a very big believer in the hero's journey. She stated multiple times that if a story doesn't follow the hero's journey, then it's not a good story, which I thought that was interesting. I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. I think that there's other journeys that are out there, but so like this is definitely something that was part of her wheelhouse, part of her convictions. Let's see. So yeah, you get a breakdown of the different cards and what they mean at the end of the book. And she gives you a great breakdown of what the hero's journey is, and then talking accordingly about different parts of the hero's journey, like, the dark moment and how does that change the hero, and how can that affect the hero's relationships with other characters and things like that. So I liked how she broke things down. I found it interesting, even though, I mean, hero's journey has come up a lot, and we've absolutely read books that have centered on the hero's journey before. But I find it interesting to kind of check out different people's take on it and to see something new that they bring to the table. And she used examples that were pretty contemporary and like, stuff that you remember, like Shrek. She used Shrek a lot. But that was fine because I actually remember Shrek, where a lot of times people will use examples that I don't remember at all. The dog's drinking water. You're okay, buddy. Come here. You're okay. You're all right. You're a good boy. And she explains to you how to use the tarot, which would be helpful if you had just bought a deck for this project and hadn't used it before. Um, and how to shuffle, things like that. Um, I was interested in hearing more about CJ's take because she actually initiated using it. Uh, Hello, Gruen. I have an obstinate bias against the hero's journey where I cannot see it as anything other than stupid. Ah, I've been going through tarot for writers and bought several decks. Using tarot to write with feels like doing a series of flash fictions in the same world. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, this might not be the one for you, Spence, if you hate the hero's journey. It would be a good place to start a story and world build, but then it would need to be put more into a coherent story plot. It might be good for someone who isn't big on outlining too and who wants to like have the ideas and then just kind of write. Hmm. All right. Do you want to say something?
I did, but now I'm scared that like no one's gonna understand.
I think it sounds a little better, but it's still Robo CJ. Okay. And then we were frozen for a second. So that's awesome. This is very very good. One too many pieces of unsolicited advice telling me it's the thing TM, like it's gonna make me a brilliant writer. Yeah, I feel that.
See, I really, yeah, I can absolutely see that in them. I have a tendency to choose, um, yeah, right? I have a tendency to choose to look at books like this as tools rather than like, this is the be all end all of writing. Like, is this a tool I can use? Is this a tool I can put in my arsenal? Will it help me do what I need to do? Great. Not? No, that's okay too. I'll go on to something else.
Right. Yeah, I definitely think of it as a tool too. Um, because the way advice goes, it changes given the person, and nothing's ever perfect, and nothing's ever set in stone, and it's all just there for us to consume a little bit, keep what we like, spit out the rest. A lot of these feel like author coaches jumping on the popularity of tarot train. There has been
I
a
think there is
resurgence in
some
the
of that.
tarot.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that um, turning off your camera will help?
Oh, I could try that. See if that helps. I'm downloading Firefox to see if I can do that better. It's been telling me it's almost done for quite some time.
Awesome. Well, let's talk about your journey with using this to actually. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna just say, I am interested in hearing more about how you were able to actually like apply the advice that she gave.
Yeah. So, I started out pretty like I had kind of an idea for a story. It was more like like you know how you have like a scene in your head or like a character, like just one piece of a story, and you haven't really gotten through it. Ooh, Alex said to unplug the mic and plug it back in. Let me try that. Okay. Did that work?
No.
Nope. Let me make sure it's on the correct audio. Oh. Hold that thought.
Okay. So Gruen says, okay, to stir a pot. To me, writing from a tarot deck as a single source feels like an inspired fanfic. Ooh. I don't know, because I feel the way she kind of set this up, it was more about brainstorming and just having different points to brainstorm from. So kind of using a card as inspiration. I figure you could turn your camera back on if you'd like. So everyone can see your full hairs.
Did that help?
Yes, immensely. What happened?
Okay, so I thought I was using my outboard mic, but apparently it was using my webcam mic.
Oh. Oh my gosh. You sound like amazing.
Oh, magic.
Oh, that's so much better.
I'm so glad. Yay!
Oh, gosh.
Yay for Alex and the brilliance that is Alex for suggesting that. So so here's the journal that I did. And I started with, like you can see, so for the ordinary world, the call to adventure, and the refusal, those all took just one page. Like, it really didn't take a lot. There wasn't a lot going on there. And part of that, I think, was I already had kind of an idea of what that might look like. So that was already like in my head, and I didn't really need a lot of fleshing out for that. But things like, when it came to the mentor, crossing the threshold, those took a little bit more working through. I wasn't quite as certain. And I'll be honest, the story that's coming about, I'm not sure that the hero's journey fits it. In fact, last night as I was kind of fiddling around with this, I was putting it into my I was putting everything back from the longhand into my computer, into Scrivener. And I was thinking, you know what might work better is the book that we read a couple of months ago, sometime last year, The Heroine's Journey. And I thought, like, my next thought was, ooh, could I adapt this to that journey? So while I might not want to use the hero's journey for this story, I might be able to adapt what she's got going on in this book to reflect to use tarot for developing the story that way.
Here, I'll share the link for that episode if anyone's interested in taking a peek.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the hero's journey is not the end all be all for me. So I found it
Right.
very interesting that was like one of that was like a big point for her. She mentioned that several times that the hero's journey, this is the way to do it.
Yeah. And I think every author's a little different, and some people really jones for the hero's story, the hero's journey. She's not wrong in that it's commonly used. I mean, Star Wars, um, Shrek is a good one. She also uses Wizard of Oz, which I think the goals, motivation, and conflict, that was the other one we read. Goals, motivation, they use the Wizard of Oz as well. And I'm pretty sure that one of the ones we read on the hero's journey used Wizard of Oz. So I mean, like, it's a common story framework, but I'm also not. I'll be honest, I like the heroine's journey better. The thing I don't like about the hero's journey, and now we're talking about the hero's journey rather than like, but the thing I'm not keen on in the hero's journey is that the hero's journey comes down to one person, a single person who is responsible for the saving of the world.
Right.
And while that isn't necessarily a bad story structure, that can be very useful. Even the stories that like use the hero's journey require connections with other people, and I think the heroine does a better job of framing that than the hero's journey does. The hero's journey has emphasis on the single person, the single person's work, the single person's journey, whereas the heroine does a better job of making it well-rounded and saying, okay, all of your characters have a point, have a purpose within this story structure. So
yeah, because like if you're trying to apply the hero's journey, so it's suggested for you to give your characters agency and like a thing that they're doing, but it's not necessarily concentrated on. It's just like, and also these characters should be rounded too, but really we're worried about the main character. Yeah.
On the other hand, go ahead.
Gruen says that they like think pack. I don't know what that is. Could you tell us more about that?
Elaborate, please.
Yeah, because I'm always looking for another way to spend money. So
right? I was also going to say, one of the things, so like when you get to the section on tests, allies, and enemies, that's one section. It took up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages in my journal, because each one, tests, allies, and enemies, had multiple sections to look at. And so like if you want to round out your character, and this is tangential, but Ward, you said something earlier. Oh, I also see, thank you for looking at my pretty hair. I did it last night and I'm in love with it. You said it would be a good place to start a story and world building, but then it would need to be put into a coherent story plot. So here's my thing, at least the way this has worked for me. This has actually helped me flesh out my story plot a little bit. For example, crossing the threshold, that section. You start with an overall card In this case, I drew the Knight of Wands. The hero chooses to be a strong, focused warrior, filled with disciplined energy and ready to be given a task. Passion for action will only be held in for so long. The hero will become restless if sedentary for too long. And then there are 2 additional questions for that particular card. One is, what's the price paid? What's the price paid for crossing the threshold? And then, what is the hero's most compelling reason to cross? And while it doesn't seem like that that's really those are both internal, a lot of internal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the price paid isn't necessarily internal, but I got some really good plot points from that. Like, I'm a firm believer, and take this or leave this, but I'm a firm believer in plot is driven by characters. Plot is driven by character development. So whatever happens internally for the character ends up reflecting in their actions, and their actions drive the plot.
Right.
So that whole idea of you can really round out the plot this way. Like, I've got some plot points in here that I was not prepared for. I was like, whoa, that was not at all what I was thinking when I had that first initial, I had this first initial kind of just this really small idea of what this could be. And this got pretty deep. And I think this could be, when I finish all the other things I've started. I have a problem. I have a lot of problems. But this could be something this would be a well-rounded story. I think it's how much you choose to put into it. The tarot cards only give you so much. Whether
Right.
you're reading, the actual explanation, or if you're just looking at the card and kind of, assessing what's going on in it, it only gives you so much. The rest of it does have to come from in you. And I think that this can be a really good tool for that. And I do like, and I said this before, in the back, so in the very back, not in the very back, in the section where she talks about the arcana, the major arcana, the minor arcana, and then the court cards. She gives keywords for each card, what the astrological correspondence is, what the tree of life correspondence is, what it might represent, some symbols, and then she has a whole key questions. And I've used those as more than the symbols or anything like that.
Really?
I've used those key questions to round out the meaning of the card or how it affects the story.
That is interesting. I wouldn't have thought to do that.
Because here's my thing, is that all I have for this tarot deck that I have, it's just this little bitty book, and it's fine, but it doesn't give me a lot. At least as far as I don't use tarot a ton anymore. So I'm not as familiar with it. And for me, those key questions, for example, so one of the cards that I drew, I drew for the ordinary world. This was the overarching card. Was the Emperor. Keywords: strategy, father, authority, practicality, unyielding. And then the key questions. When you pull this card, considering the following questions: what practical solutions am I missing? Is my hero missing? How is my hero's relationship with their father affecting this question? Who does the hero need to protect or empower? And that really rounded out how that translated into the work.
Right.
So I really found those helpful. And that's, again, I see this book as a tool. It's, yeah, she's enamored with the hero's journey.
But really, it's about what you can take from it and what.
Yeah.
So, Emma says, I'm not a fan of the hero's journey or chosen one tropes. Everything takes a group effort.
Preach it, sister.
Okay, so it is prompts like put to other uses, adapt, rearrange, mnemonic for scrapper, substitute, combine, adapt, modify, magnify, put to use, eliminate, reversal. So that's what the cards are. The think pack, rather. Interesting.
Oh.
Interesting. Interesting. And again, if y'all have any suggestions for the April book of the month, let me know because I'd like to put the poll up in the Goodreads group this weekend so we
Yay.
can buy it and start reading it.
Oh, don't make anything up. You're going to read it the night before anyway. But everyone else can start reading it.
I am what I am. I can't help it.
Embrace yourself. Embrace.
A new friend of mine, I was telling him about this and, you know, how we do this every month, this, that, and the other. And he's like, and this was at the beginning of last month. And he's like, well, you know, you should start reading it. And I was like, well, why would I do that?
You're silly. That's not how we do things.
He was like, so you can have it read. I was like, but that's not what I do.
And here's the thing: if you change the pattern, does it create problems?
I mean, it could, you know.
It's like wearing lucky socks or something. Like you can't not wear your lucky socks.
Or with my luck, which is very likely, by the time the end of the month would roll around, I wouldn't remember what I'd read, and then I'd have to go back over it anyway.
I will say this. I will say, like, books like this, if I read them early, then like one of the things that I was able to do is go back and work through it. And I'm going to continue working through this. I actually used some of it, not all of it, but pieces of it. For one of the other books I was I am working on. I'm almost done with it, and I was really struggling with like the end and how to like get from where the characters are to the end that I have in my head. And so I did use some of the. I used the. It was just two sections that I worked through. The ordeal. I worked through the ordeal, and then I worked through the reward for that story. And so, like, that's one of the, like, if I can adapt this for the heroine's journey, she did not recognize the reverse inverse. I don't think she did that at all. I did, because that was how I learned to do it.
Yeah, she did not mention reverse,
but she didn't really go into that at all. And interestingly enough, my little white book doesn't have it at all.
Really?
So yeah, it doesn't talk about reversed or inverse at all. So I really just kind of set that aside and like focused on like, if a card, for example, if the Emperor represents strength and authority and fatherhood, I would flip it and say, okay, if the Emperor is reversed, We're talking about lack of authority, maybe weakness rather than strength, a lack of a father figure, or lack of a strong male presence, or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Or the suits as they apply for swords for work in the world, pentacles for financial, cups for emotional, spiritual growth, or stress, or wands for creativity / intellect. It's interesting because the meaning of the court cards inverse are very different from the
Right?
upright. Missy Kate, there is no particular theme for April.
And MM Ward, did you enjoy The Plot Garden? I think we read it in season 2 or season 3. I just want to know.
Let me do a little quick.
Ciao, Grun.
Because I don't remember anything. The Plot Garden, is it?
Yeah, or Plot Gardening, maybe. I know I have that one because I have like 3 of his books. Or did we read the one that was 5,000K a day? Or did we read both of them?
I know that we read 5,000. We read Right to Market. And I think that we read 5K a day.
Yeah. I've read it.
We have not read it for Writer's Workshop.
Okay. We have not read it. But I have read it, and I would not object to reading it again.
Excellent. Let me write it down, and I'll write down any other suggestions in my handy dandy workshop notes notebook.
Nice.
Can you believe it? And it's actually
happy early birthday, RC Scott.
Oh, when's your birthday?
Monday.
Well, happy early birthday.
My birthday's on Easter this year.
Whoa.
I get irrationally excited when my birthday's on Easter because Easter is like probably my favorite holiday.
Is it? That is unusual.
Yeah. I know, it's a weird holiday. But here's my thing. So it's a tie between Halloween and Easter. Because Halloween heralds, like, part of it is it's the changing of the seasons. I love fall and spring. Like, I adore winter, and it's by far my favorite season. But fall and spring are times of renewal and change. And winter can get very long and cold. And so Easter comes around, and it's the promise of the promise of new life, the promise of spring. All of that is just, everything's coming alive again, and I love that. But for like fall, I love the color of the trees, and when the rain starts to fall, and like I can sit outside in my writing tent and hear the drip drip, and like watch the squirrels get ready for winter, and they're gathering all their nuts and whatever. And so,
yeah. I'm basic. Autumn's my favorite season, and Halloween's my favorite holiday. Birthday celebration competing with the resurrection.
I'll be honest, I've never seen, and I'm pretty active in my church, so like I've never seen it as a competition. I always saw it as like people get really excited about chocolate on my birthday. Like,
yeah, no doubt.
We get to have, like, my mom's like, do you want to celebrate? And I'm like, we are celebrating. There'll be like 20 people out in your backyard, and we'll all be eating, baked macaroni and cheese and ham and chocolate. And my mom makes these things called resurrection rolls. And it's basically you take like bread dough, like rolls to make rolls, and you put a marshmallow in the middle, and then you put the thing around it. So when you bake it, the marshmallow melts, and the inside is hollow like the tomb. So, like I said, we're church people. But it's like you open it up and it's empty, but the inside is like marshmallowed dough.
Whoa.
And it's so good.
That's
I cannot.
crazy.
They actually, I don't remember, it's in one of the Laura Ingalls books. She calls them pride rolls. Her mom makes them, and they call them pride rolls because they're puffed up like pride, but empty inside.
That, oh gosh, that's such good writing.
I know, right?
Like, man, I love the symbolism.
I'm so sorry, R.C. Scott. You can come to my house and cook lamb on Easter. Anytime.
Sounds delicious.
As long as it comes with mint jelly.
You can cook lamb at any time for me. I get excited about the day after candy sales.
I feel you, Alex. I feel you.
MM has had some resurrection rolls and
yes, resurrection rolls for the win.
I'm gonna have to like make them. I want to try this out.
Oh, and they're even good with like if you put a little butter on the outside, so you get that sweet savory combination. But I'll eat them just plain. And you know there are people in the world who don't like them.
Well, you know, everyone's allowed to be wrong.
I'll tell my sister that.
But don't tell her I said it because I wanted to.
No, oh no. No, she likes them. My other sister doesn't. The one I live with doesn't like them.
Ah. Okay.
She won't get offended. She'll just roll her eyes and be like, well, it's too bad for you. Oh, I didn't even think about making them with croissants.
Well,
and
that,
people need to stop getting. Okay.
I said I like cheater ways.
Right? Nice, Spence. I can't wait to hear how they turn out. And RC, don't let people need to get over themselves. Get over it. They need to get over it. Because lamb is delicious.
Right? Right, Spence? I'm like, So I know we're going to do something for Easter. So
you're invited to our place.
Thanks. I wish you were a little closer. Just a little bit.
Right? Just like maybe 500 miles closer.
Yeah, just a scooch.
just a little. Oh, that'll be fun, RC.
Oh, Art House Theater by Wrigley Field. That's pretty awesome. I know how much you like horror movies.
Peeps. MM Ward makes them with Peeps. Cassie! Apparently you can make resurrection rolls with Peeps. Oh, dear Lord.
Why do you tell her these things?
She didn't tell me. Somebody in the comments.
Why do you tell her these things? So gross. On so many levels.
Thank you, MM Ward. You've made my whole world better.
So clearly, the hate is real.
You. Thank you.
That was excellent.
Y'all
So I guess
should
we
feel
should.
sorry for her. She has to deal with me all the time.
But you're great.
I am, but I can be a bit much.
So I guess we should talk about our final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Um,
You want to go first? You want me to?
I'll go first 'cause I don't really have a lot of thoughts. I feel like it it would probably be a good tool, but since I didn't have a tarot deck, it was kind of difficult to read through in some ways.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I would recommend that if you're going to read this book, then pick up a tarot deck if you don't have one.
Yeah. That definitely makes it easier. I think you could, if you had like, I don't know, dice or something, you could potentially roll. And this is one of the things she talks about is that each card in the tarot deck has a number associated with it. So if you had dice, whether they were, gaming dice or just six-sided dice, you could use those. And then in the back of the book, because it does have each card is outlined in the back, you would still have that reference. But I think you would miss, like, one of the things I really enjoyed doing was she had you look at the cards. So like I have a fairy tarot deck. And so like when you look at the card, there's like all this extra stuff. Let's see. Can I get there's like all this extra stuff. So like this is Temperance. She's holding a jar. She's pouring into a bowl. We have circles. We have like the color yellow itself balanced with black. Like there's a lot going on in the art of the cards that you may miss out on if you don't have that. But there are, like, I'm just saying there are workarounds.
Right. Which is good to note.
Yeah.
But I didn't have any dice either. So just out of it. Got nothing.
There's nothing.
Nothing.
My final thoughts were, this is a good tool. I'm looking forward to continuing working through what I've already started. But I'm also really seriously considering looking if I can adapt it to the heroine's journey, because I like that journey better. I like writing in that journey better. And so if I can adapt it, this becomes more usable for me on a broader scale. So, but
keep us updated if you do decide to try it out. Yeah, because I'm interested. I'm interested in knowing how that translates.
Yeah.
So if anyone is interested in picking this up and they haven't already, the link is in the description. And at least for the ebook on Amazon. Gosh, I don't know. I feel like we kind of wrap things up fairly quickly.
Yeah.
Would you like to tell the folks who you are again and where they can find you, and we can wrap it up?
Absolutely. My name is CJ Bloyer. I'm a writer of things. Do you have links down below?
Yes.
My link tree is down below. You can check out my cat's Instagram, which will soon have an additional character being introduced as of sometime next weekend, because we are getting another kitten.
Oh,
Yeah. Sarah's my cat dealer. She is. Like, we got the kitten from her. Like, we got Tybalt from her. Well, from her mom, and now her niece is gonna give us her cat. So, but yeah, go check that out. I don't have a lot of writing stuff out there. I have a lot of piano stuff. I'm a private piano teacher. So if you're looking for lessons, I do virtual lessons. I've got some openings.
FYI.
FYI. No big, but if you're looking.
And
Anyway.
you could be found on Wordsmith Sarah's Friday night streams
Every Friday
at 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern, which I only pop up every now and again, but I would like to start doing it more often. Hopefully I'll have stable health and then I won't be sick all the time. So I do have a doctor's appointment on the 13th. So things are looking up. And speaking of looking up, my name is Fairwoods. I'm a cozy mystery author. My book was supposed to launch last week, and it's going to launch next week because between an Amazon kerfuffle and my health being shoddy, I wasn't able to launch it last week, so I'll be launching it this upcoming week. And tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be watching Knives Out on my Patreon Discord. So if you want to watch Knives Out with us, then grab the Patreon link and join the $3 tier and come and watch a movie with us. I don't know. I'm a little foggy still, so thanks for coming. I appreciate you guys coming after I had to delay. I appreciate you guys so much.
We love you.
It'll be 4 p.m. for Misty Kate. Well, it's a nice early evening. Then you get to watch a movie and then do other stuff. Kids are gateway drugs to becoming a crazy cat lady.
I have no objections to that.
Sure. Thanks, Mom. I hope I do too. I mean, I am feeling somewhat better. It's not as bad as I was last week. So, it's getting better. Anyway, well, thank you guys so much. We'll let you go so you can go and explore the rest of your Saturdays. And we'll see you soon. I should be streaming next Thursday at 1 p.m. here on this channel doing my regularly scheduled writing sprints. So hopefully I'll see you then. Bye, everyone.